Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 2nd of December and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in this video, we are going to discuss the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper. We'll simplify the articles, we'll discuss the articles along with the background as well as the way forward. Now, before starting up, I would like to tell you that if you are new here, you can download the synoptic notes. These synoptic notes are actually a kind of an explainer PDF where we have taken the articles and we have explained the articles along with the background. You can download these synoptic notes from the Telegram channel. The link for the Telegram channel has been given in the description box in YouTube. Moreover, you can directly visit the Telegram and can search there by typing Thinking Valid by Sahil. In the last, the mains practice question has also been given. Now guys, before starting up, I would like to give you a little bit overview of the entire newspaper so that you can understand that which are the important articles and what are the placement of those articles. Now here, the first article that we can see, it talks about the November GST revenue. It rise 11% from year earlier. Now guys, understand this particular thing that every class I tell you that this monthly data with respect to the GST revenue collection, monthly export import data, okay, or basically quarter to quarter GDP growth rate, etc. They are not important. By the end of the year, when the economic survey will be coming up, we will be getting the yearly estimates that are there. So every month's data is not that much important. So no need to go there. Then the Gujarat records a 62% voter turnout into the first phase, which is good. Okay. Then moving on here, the Sunanda case. Now basically these articles are not very much important with respect to the examination. India helming G20 a watershed movement. So yesterday was 1st December and now India had formally taken over the G20's presidentship. Okay. Even yesterday also we have discussed one article in this particular direction into the newspaper. Then moving on in the city section, fed up with councillors in action but will still cast our ballot, says voters. So the MCD elections are coming in Delhi, and in that particular direction every day these articles are coming. Not important articles with respect to the examination. Again, moving on, the regional politics etc. has been given in this particular direction. Then we have the Metro Plus. Okay, and then guys, on the states page, the Tamil Nadu governor likely to give assent to bill on online gambling. We'll see this particular article as what it is talking about. Then further moving on in this particular direction, guys, here also we see one article where the basically constitutional rights of animals are being discussed. We'll see this particular article. Laying the ground to delegitimize the Supreme Court. Fine, we'll take this particular article with respect to the examination. Dispiriting politics, the BJP is trying to divert attention. Not important article, it's a political article. Then guys, safer roads for a greener, more sustainable environment. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination. Mixed bag. Basically, the official GDP estimates or fine of the quarter 3 has been released, and in this particular direction, guys, the basically the movement, the basically the GDP estimates that have been there, their comparisons etc. are being given up. Then moving on, opinion page. Should there be a panel to appoint the election commissioners? We'll see this particular article, guys. Then coming to the text and the context page, how will global layoffs impact India? We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination. How do personality rights protect celebrities? We'll see this particular article also. A film worth a juror's conscience, the Kashmir Files case. So guys, this is in the limelight article, and here the Kashmir Files and basically the basically cinematic representations etc. are being discussed. Not important article with respect to the examination. Then moving on, G20 presidency unparalleled, a crucial responsibility. Minister of External Affairs Jai Shankar. Okay, now see this particular thing, guys. Yesterday India had formally taken over the G20's presidency, and for this coming year India is going to be the president. Now every day you don't need to read if one line statement has been given by MEA or by some other minister or some other government agency. Only we need to see the important developments that are going on. So every other development is not that much important. So now, just as India had assumed the presidency, we are saying this thing that it is a crucial responsibility that we are going to take. Moreover, yesterday a prime minister's article was also discussed on this particular line. Moving on. Fine, Korean woman loads India for swift action. Okay, so it was a molestation case on which the police has acted swiftly. Then the political articles are filled in this particular page, not important. Is there a compelling reason for GM mustard? Will it not affect environment? Asks Supreme Court. So guys, recently what has happened, Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee GES had given approval to the environmental release of the DMH11 DMH11, that is the genetically modified mustard. Because of that thing, it is, many of the activists have come forward and they are saying that it will impact the environment, the native varieties of the mustard will be lost. And if you remember, yesterday I have taken this entire article in the detail, where entire issue of the Dhara DMH11 we have discussed. Okay, now guys, as this particular matter is going on in the Supreme Court, okay, every day there are certain arguments that are being given. So the Supreme Court has asked that will it impact the environment or not. Now you are not required to follow everyday discussions that are going into the Supreme Court. When the final decision will come, we'll see that thing. Okay, however, everyday's discussions are not that much important. Please don't waste your time on tracking that thing. Okay, however, yesterday I have covered this entire issue also. Center to cut funds if land is not allotted. Now this particular article is talking about the Awas Yojana. We'll see this particular article. Now use your face as boarding pass. Okay, so Digi Yatra scheme has been launched. We'll see this particular article. India has been cautious on the use of force. Jaishankar. So when we talk about India, India has always been a country which has led as how the cooperation can be built. Chinese official signal easing of COVID-19 rules after the protest. So guys, recently we have seen that in China there were the protests that were carried on because of the zero COVID policy of China. China, whenever the cases increases, it goes under the complete lockdown, and the people got frustrated. So they were, so they protested. Now they say that they might ease the norms, but not important article for our examination. Debt talks in the Sri Lanka put spotlight onto the China loans. So guys, right now the Sri Lanka is facing the economic crisis, and because of that particular thing, it is negotiating a fiscal package from the IMF. Now, before it can take the loan from the IMF, the Sri Lanka has to ask the other lenders who had given the money to Sri Lanka to restructure that particular loan. So now when we talk about the China is the biggest lender to Sri Lanka, and the Sri Lanka needs to convince the China that China restructures the loans that have been given to Sri Lanka. So that is something which is coming into the limelight. Okay, now understand this thing. Beyond this, there is no substance in this particular article. Moreover, as this economic crisis in Sri Lanka is going on, every day there are the meets between the Sri Lanka and IMF officials, between the Sri Lanka and other financial bodies that are happening. You are not required to track day by day development in this particular this direction. Ball by ball commentary is not needed. Is it clear or not? So we need to see that ultimately how this particular matter will be unfolding, and by the time your exam will come, these articles will not make any sense. Is it clear or not? Then moving on, manufacturing PMI signals output orders at 3-month high. Okay, so again the evolutionary details and the datas. November car sales, not important article with respect to the exam. India set to offer incentives to boost shipbuilding industry. Now guys, see, this is an important article because it is talking about an infrastructure dimension. It is talking about the policy aspect. So this article is something that is important, but all these monthly datas, etc., not very much important. Then we have the sports page. So this is guys the overview of the entire newspaper, and now let's discuss all the relevant articles one by one in the detail. Now starting up, just a minute. Okay, so I think there is some issue that had come. Okay, just give me just 1 minute. Okay, so in every class we start with a GS quotation, and this particular quotation can be complemented with your GS paper number 1, 2, 3, 4 answer. So today we are going to take the quotation from Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhiji says that the difference between what we do and what we are capable of doing would suffice to solve most of the world's problems. So guys, actually here the difference comes because of the intention. What we actually do and what we can do, what is our ability to do, there is a lot of difference. Sometimes we don't push all our efforts. Sometimes we don't involve our entire capabilities to bring justice, and whenever we will not be providing our entire energies towards the cause of the justice, fine, the reform will not come into the world. So only the difference between what we can do and what we are capable of doing, that will solve the most of the world's problems. So therefore we need to perform as per our capabilities. We need to perform as per our potentials. Our actions should be the ones which entail all of our capabilities towards the social justice, towards the social reform. Only by that thing the world's problems will be solved. Now this particular idea can be used in the GS paper number 2 as well as more importantly in the GS paper number 4, ethics, integrity and aptitude. Okay, so that is all guys about it, and now let's take the first article in the detail. Now taking up, so the first article that we have taken up, first of all let's read the heading. Article reads, Tamil Nadu counters argument that animal-like persons are protected by the constitution. Now this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 4, GS paper number 4 ethics, GS paper number 4 ethics, as well as GS paper number 2 scope of fundamental rights, scope of fundamental rights. Okay, now see this particular thing. Before going in this particular article, guys, I would like to give you some of the background, and only after this particular background we will be going in this particular issue. First of all, here we are going to discuss about this Jallikattu festival as what it is. Now here a lot of background and basic information is being given, which is not mentioned in this particular article, but it is important for you to understand this particular article in the detail. Now, Jallikattu. So guys, when we talk about the Jallikattu, it is a bull taming sports. It is a competitive bull taming sports that is held every year in the Tamil Nadu around the month of January. In this particular sport, okay, the sport is held to honor the bull owners. So what will be happening here? The contestants, they will try to control, they will try to tame a bull, and if they will be able to control or they will be able to tame that particular bull, they will win a prize, and if they fail, then the bull owner will win that particular prize. Now this particular festival is celebrated in the second week of January during the festival of the Pongal, which is a harvest festival. Okay, now it is being provided that actually by this particular sport, indirectly many of the native breeds of the bulls, they are being preserved. Okay, right now when we talk about the cattle breeding, it is happening through the artificial process. And now keeping certain native varieties of the bulls intact, it needs that there needs to be some utility of them. And by these particular festivals, and when the owners are winning the prizes in that particular festival, they are conserving those particular bulls. So it has been provided that it is very much important to protect the male animals, otherwise they would have been used for meat or such kind of a things. Now basically, from past few years, this Jallikattu had become controversial. Why it became controversial? Because guys, it has been said that while that bull is kept in an enclosure before releasing it, that particular bull, it is treated with cruelty. Okay, many a times they are being fed with alcohol, many a number of times they are being poked with the sharp objects so that they become angry, so that they cannot be tamed by the people. Okay, and to make it more adventurous, these bulls are being treated with cruelty. That is something that is happening now. Because of that thing, in 2011, what happened? The government added the bull into the list of animals whose trainings and the exhibition is prohibited. And on this particular basis, in 2014, the Supreme Court banned this bull taming sport. Fine, they said that the bull, its exhibition, its training cannot be held. Moreover, the Supreme Court also said that under the Prevention of Cruelty Acts, Prevention of Cruelty Against Animal Act, this bull taming festival is wrong because it entails cruelty on the animal. That happened. Now, in this particular direction, guys, what happened? In 2016, there is another development came. Now, at that year, there was the elections into the Tamil Nadu, and maybe because of the electoral purposes, what happened? The Environment Ministry revoked, cancelled that particular ban that was issued. Okay, that is something that happened. Because of that thing, Animal Welfare Board of India, and PETA, that is the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, they approached the Supreme Court and they said that they have again have removed the ban onto the sports, which is wrong. Okay, this is something that happened. Moreover, because of that particular thing, Supreme Court stayed the union government's notification. Fine. So basically, the bull taming was still kept as a was not allowed. Now, finally, in 2017, what happened? Tamil Nadu government passed the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Tamil Nadu Amendment Act of 2017, and also passed the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Conduct of Jallikattu Rules 2017. And in these particular act and this rule, they allowed the Jallikattu. They said that Jallikattu can be carried, but there should not be undue cruelty. But in an indirect way, they allowed the Jallikattu. So what happened? The ban that was imposed earlier, that ban has now been removed. Now, because of that particular thing, this bull taming sport Jallikattu, it was allowed, and in the name of culture, and tradition, it was allowed. Because of that particular thing, there was many number of petitions that were filed into the Supreme Court, and now the Supreme Court is hearing this particular matter. So right now what is happening in the Supreme Court, whether the Jallikattu can be carried or cannot be carried, this particular issue is going on. Now, as this issue is going on, there was one argument that has come in front of the Supreme Court, and the argument is that even the animals have their rights, and in order to protect the rights of the animals, Jallikattu should not be allowed. Now, the Tamil Nadu government, okay, now Tamil Nadu government had argued before the Constitution bench. Constitution bench means having 5 judges. Had argued before the Constitution bench that that Jallikattu case, okay. Now, as per the Tamil Nadu government, it has been said that there is a duty to ensure the well-being of animal. There is a duty to ensure the well-being of animal. We need to compassionate towards the animal. But by that particular duty, there is not a concomitant right to the animals that is created. Okay, so it's our duty to take care of animal, but the animals don't have any kind of a right. This duty automatically doesn't creates any rights of the well-being. Now it has been provided that when we talk about the rights are given by the law made by the human beings. And in our Indian constitution, there are the two types of rights. Rights are of two kinds. One are the rights against the state. Just a minute. One are the right against the state or the fellow human beings, and against the nature. Fine. But there is no concept of rights to animals. So there are the two types of rights against the state, against the human beings, against the nature, but there is no concept of rights to animals. Is it clear or not? So this is something that has been provided. Here it is being provided that though there is a moral norm, there is a moral responsibility that animals should not be inflicted with pain, will not be inflicted with suffering, but you say that they have right, there that is not the case. Now, it has been said that anyhow, whenever we are domesticating the animal, the domestication itself will lead to certain kind of a cruelties. Now, certain cruelties have to be there as a part of the has to be there as a part of their existence. So, this is something that has been provided by the Tamil Nadu by the Tamil Nadu government in the court. So this is, guys, the entire issue that had come. Now you again don't need to track this day-to-day development that is going on, but this entire issue around the Jallikattu needs to be understood because this is very important, guys. Now this particular issue becomes more important for the GS paper number 4 also, that is the ethics. Within the ethics, there is the topic number 1, and within the topic number 1, there are the environmental ethics, and within the environmental ethics, basically environmental ethics governs the moral relation between the human and the non-human components. And in non-human components, we have the flora and we have the fauna. So when the animals' rights are there, it becomes a part of our ethical duty. Moreover, there is also a saying that the moral progress of a nation is judged by the way the animal of that particular nation are judged, are treated. Fine, the moral progress of a nation will be judged by the way the animals of that particular nation are treated. Okay, so in this particular connection, this issue becomes important, and we need to see that finally where it will be evolving. So when there will be some final decision that will come, we'll take that. That is all about it. And now moving to the next article. Tamil Nadu governor likely to give assent to the bill on online gambling after getting doubts cleared. Okay, so in this particular issue also, nothing concrete has come till now. But what is this entire issue? That issue is something which you need to understand. This particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2. Fine. Law and order issues. Law and order issues. Clear? Now, basically, guys, nowadays there is one issue that has come a lot into the news. That is the online gambling. Whether it is allowed, whether it is not allowed. Online gambling, many of the people, they are playing the fantasy cricket, online rummy, these kind of games. And in these online rummy type of games, they are staking the money, and many times they are losing the money. Even they are taking the money on the loan, they are borrowing the money, they are staking, and then they lose the money. Because of that thing, many people in the past have committed suicides. Many of the people are facing the financial anxieties, they are facing the depressions. So there is a kind of from past many months, the governments, particularly the Karnataka, for example, Tamil Nadu, okay, earlier the Kerala also, they had tried to control the online gambling and online gaming. Right now, it is the Tamil Nadu government. So basically what is happening, Tamil Nadu government earlier had brought an ordinance, and by that particular ordinance, Tamil Nadu banned the online gaming. Fine, but now this ordinance has lapsed, okay, because we know that an ordinance's length can be 6 months and 6 weeks. Now it has been lapsed, and now the Tamil Nadu government is thinking to bring a bill on banning the online gambling and online games. Is it clear or not? So Tamil Nadu government is now bringing a bill to ban this gambling. Now, the Tamil Nadu government had provided this particular thing, that into the past, the 17% had lost their lives when this ordinance was brought. And after that, many other people have also died. Now, 25 people have died because of losing the money into the online games. So therefore, this is very important that we need to regulate this particular activity, particularly the online rummy. Fine, they fall into the debt trap. It is very important to control it. Here, the government has said this thing, that these deaths can be contributed to the online gaming. Fine, it has been said that, see, there are the offline gamings are also there, where the money is being staked. For example, if you take the example of certain states, there the lottery is allowed. For example, in the Kerala also, the lotteries are allowed. Is it clear or not? For example, in some of the states, the gambling on the horse racing is allowed. So it has been said that there is offline gaming, there is offline gambling. There, many a times the process might not be that unfair, but in online gaming, the process is very much unfair. Why? Because when you are playing an online game, you are playing against a computer, and computer might be programmed in such a way that you will never win. Always the computer will be winning. So there might be unfair rigging of this online game that can happen. So there are the chances that the online games might be pre-programmed to loot money. So therefore the online games are to be restricted as per the Tamil Nadu government. Fine. So they are bringing the law. Now guys, what is happening? Basically, Tamil Nadu governor had certain apprehensions about this particular bill. So just it has been provided that Tamil Nadu governor will give the assent to the bill after getting the doubts cleared. So now the government will clear that particular doubts. Okay, so that is not something much beyond that has come in this particular article. But guys, I want to give you some additional concepts in this particular direction. See this particular thing. Though not mentioned in the article, but you should know it. In the past guys, the Karnataka also brought a law to ban the online gaming, but the Karnataka High Court struck down that particular amendment. Now they brought an amendment to the Karnataka Police Act and they banned the online gaming, but the Karnataka High Court struck that. Why? Because of the three problems that were there. Number one, it was said that it is a violation of fundamental right of trade and commerce, liberty and privacy of speech and expression. The companies who are providing these online games, they also have the right of trade and commerce. So their right will be curbed. Moreover, the people who are playing the online games, even if they are taking the money there, it is a part of their right of speech, expression. It is their private life and we cannot bring undue control on that. Secondly, the Karnataka High Court provided this particular thing, that the law that the Karnataka government brought was arbitrary, irrational. Fine. Why? Because it did not distinguish between the games of skill and the games of chance. Now, what is the games of skill and the games of chance? Now, see this particular thing. Basically, guys, games of skill and the games of chance. Now, games of skill is one where a player can use some of their logics, can use some of the skill, okay, to predict a kind of an outcome. For example, guys, there is Dream 11 kind of applications that are here there. What you can do, you can make there your own kind of a cricket team. You will choose the players. Now, how these players are performing into the real life, on the basis of that, you will score some points, and on the basis of the points, you will be winning some money. Now, guys, here what is happening? Basically, when you are choosing the players, what you are doing, you are using your skill, you are using your knowledge. So there is an element of smartness that is involved. Okay, now these are the games of skill. Now, what are the games of chance? Games of chance are those chance which depend purely on the luck. For example, rolling of a dice, or playing a roulette game in the casino. That is purely onto the luck. There is no logic, there is no calculation, there is no assessment that can be done. Fine. So, according to according to the Supreme Court into the past, it has been said that the games of skill and games of chance are different. On the games of chance, there can be the controls that can be brought, but not onto the games of skill. Games of skill, they cannot be outrightly be banned. That has been ruled by the courts. Okay. So recently there was a jungly games judgment that also came, so that there also it was provided, and in not that particular logic, these platforms such as the Dream 11, fine, they are allowed that they can continue because they are the games of skill. So here what had happened, the Karnataka High Court, they banned both games of skill as well as games of chance. Okay, so in a way, they had not made a categorical differentiation. Now the Tamil Nadu government is outrightly banning the online games. Fine. So there, both the games of skill and games of chance, they will outrightly be banning, and they can also face such kind of a problem in the future. So you keep it in your mind that as this particular thing will be continuing, this thing definitely will be coming, games of chance versus game of skill. Now understand this thing, we don't have a very clear classification that what is exactly game of chance, what is exactly the game of skill, but actually the games of chance and games of skill can be seen on the basis of this, that what element is actually more, what element is actually more. Now I am just giving you certain judgments, guys. You can write the name of these judgments. That is the Varun, just a minute, Varun Gumber judgment. Okay, then there is the Gurdeep Singh Sachar judgment. Gurdeep Singh Sachar judgment. Is it clear or not? And there is one more judgment, that is the Avinash Mehrotra. But these many judgments are not important. So Varun Gumber and Gurdeep Singh Sachar judgment you can keep in mind. And in this particular judgments, what had happened, the judiciary have ruled this particular thing, that the games of skill, are allowed. Games of skill are allowed. Fine, they cannot outrightly be banned. Games of chance can be banned, but games of skill cannot outrightly be banned. But here the Karnataka into the past banned both chance as well as skill, and Tamil Nadu is also doing a similar kind of a thing. So there can be the issues that can come. Now the third ground on which earlier the Karnataka High Court struck down the Karnataka Government's Act. They are providing that there is the lack of legislative competence of state legislator to enact the laws onto the skill based games. So they don't have competence to outrightly ban that. So this is the issue that might come here also. So this is all, guys, about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. Okay, and this is a very comprehensive coverage that we have taken. I hope you understanding it. Now, laying the ground to delegitimize the Supreme Court. Okay, now this particular judgment, guys, this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, issues related to judiciary. Now, before going on this particular article, guys, I will be giving you a little bit of a background of this article, and after understanding the background, we'll actually see that what this article is talking about. So basically, guys, recently the petition has been filed in the Supreme Court, and in this particular petition, the collegium system of appointment of the judges have been questioned. Now, what is this collegium system? So basically, guys, right now when we talk about the appointment of the Supreme Court judges, appointment of the High Court judges, and the transfer of High Court judges, it is done onto the basis of the collegium, and in this collegium, the senior most judges of the Supreme Court and the CJI is present. For example, it has been provided that if any appointment of a Supreme Court judge is to be done, then that particular appointment will be made by the President of India, but President of India has to consult the collegium. In this collegium, Chief Justice of India and the 4 senior most judges of the Supreme Court will be there. Similarly, if a High Court judge's appointment is to be done, again CJI and 2 senior most judges of Supreme Court will be there. So actually the members of judiciary are appointing the other members of the judiciary, and it has been said that it leads to nepotism. Okay, fine. It leads to favoritism. All these things are there. Now, basically, in the Supreme Court, this collegium system's validity has been questioned. Okay, now this matter is going on. Okay, so in this particular line, there is this editorial which is giving a little bit of a background history about the Supreme Court appointment processes that have been there. Now, guys, understand this particular thing, that right now there are many outright comments that are also being made onto the judiciary by the law minister, by the government. those comments etc which are direct, we don't need to see because that is not academically important. Now let's take this particular article. So basically guys, when we talk about this collegium system, okay, already the in 2015 this collegium system was replaced by the government. So what happened? The 99th Constitutional Amendment Act was brought, and by the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act, National Judicial Appointment Commission was created. Now what is this National Judicial Appointment Commission? National Judicial Appointment Commission, just a minute. National Judicial Appointment Commission, when we talk about it, it was basically a body, and this particular body will suggest the appointment of the judges into the Supreme Court, High Court, as well as the names for that. Basically the transfers of the High Court judges will also be suggested by this particular National Judicial Appointment Commission. Now this National Judicial Appointment Commission, this particular body had the composition: number one, Chief Justice of India. Number two, there will be the two senior-most judges of the Supreme Court. Third, the law minister. The law minister will be the member. Okay, and then fourthly, there will be the two eminent members, and these two eminent members will be chosen by a selection committee. They will be chosen by a selection committee. Is it clear or not? So basically they will be the members of this National Judicial Appointment Commission, NJAC, and this NJAC was introduced by the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act. Is it clear or not? Now basically when this National Judicial Appointment Commission was brought, fine, in this particular thing there were multiple articles that got amended. For example, Article 124, Article 124, Article 217, okay, they got amended. Okay, but what happened in 2015? In 2015, after the National Judicial Appointment Commission was brought, the Supreme Court, what it did, Supreme Court struck down the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act and said that Parliament had affected to create the NJAC. They have created NJAC, and by this particular thing they have subverted the independence of the judiciary. Now if you see the law minister, okay, fine, they are participating, and when we talk about the eminent members, there are basically the people outside the judiciary who are being brought into the judiciary's appointment. So the power of the judiciary, independence of judiciary has been reduced, and the Supreme Court said that the independence of judiciary is the basic structure of constitution. And if you have read your polity once, you might be knowing about the 1973 Keshwananda Bharti case. In the Keshwananda Bharti case, very clearly Supreme Court provided that basic structure of the constitution can never be amended. And now the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act, what it did, it tried to change the basic structure of constitution. So therefore, it was struck down by the Supreme Court. However, at the same time, Supreme Court said that yes, we also accept this particular fact that the appointment processes into the judiciary are needed to be reformed. They acknowledge that particular thing. Okay, they acknowledge that there were problems with the collegium system and it required interventions, it required reforms. But for that particular thing, we will appoint another committee. Okay, and basically court appointed a 2-member committee, and this committee was of senior lawyers, and one of them was a government law officer, and they actually took the suggestions from the legal community. They took suggestions that how we can actually reform the judicial appointments. Is it clear or not? And it was provided that after their suggestions, suitable changes will be incorporated into the memorandum of procedure for judicial appointment. So memorandum of procedure, it is a process document which lists down the steps for appointment of the judiciary. So within the MOP, we will do the suitable amendment after taking these particular suggestions. It was provided. Is it clear or not? Now guys, at that point of a time, the government provided, the Attorney General at that point of a time provided that the power to frame the MOP was actually into the government's field. Supreme Court said that okay, you will frame the law that is to be done. Now that particular thing was what happened, and in this MOP, what things were to be focused upon? Eligibility of the judges, transparency in the judiciary, formation of a secretariat will be there. Okay, complaints, if there are the complaints, how those complaints will be redressed. All these particular things were to be discussed, and these were to be made as the part of the MOP. But up till now, what happened? The media had reported that up till now, the court as well as the government could not find a common ground that what type of changes are to be brought onto the MOP. Nothing has happened on this particular thing. So therefore, understand this particular thing, guys. Neither NJAC became successful, nor the MOP, Memorandum of Procedure, got amended. Okay, so in a way, the status quo, that is the collegium system, it prevailed. And now what is happening? The government is not happy with this particular thing. And now what government has done? Government had started to stall the appointments. So whenever the appointments are being suggested by the collegium to the government, those appointments are not getting cleared. Is it clear? Now, when we talk about in many countries, guys, basically the judiciary has often been made the first target of the regimes that want to strengthen themselves. In the Hungary, in the Poland, we have seen that there have been the attacks onto the institutions, and today it has been said that deliberately government is not clearing the name of the judges that is being suggested by the collegium, and it is a way to reduce the power of the judiciary that has been provided there. Now guys, we need to understand this particular thing, that when we talk about the appointment of the higher judges, it is a highly contested field. Often there are the direct attacks that have been made on this particular process. Okay, in India also the court had tried to resist the process. Fine, though there are the collegium system, there are the problems. Courts have tried to resist this particular process, but guys, we need to understand this particular thing, that the process is to be the process is to be initiated. Okay, through a much criticized reinterpretation of the appointment provisions into the constitution. Now, when we talk about the appointment provisions into the constitution, though the power of appointing the judge has been given to the president, but the president has to consult the CGI. Now, whether this particular consultation is compulsory or not, that particular thing is to be again reinterpreted. Moreover, here it has been provided that the court voluntarily should take up the reforms into the collegium system. They should expedite the creation of new memorandum of procedure. They need to bring the changes, and only by that particular thing they will be able to shield from the attacks that are being made onto the judiciary. This is something that has to be done immediately. This is all, guys, about this particular article, and I believe that this is actually a 5-star article because very comprehensively the entire issue of the judicial appointments have been discussed here. Okay, so that is all, guys, about this particular article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Okay, just a minute. Okay, just a minute. Now, this article is again taken from the editorial section. Safer roads for a greener, more sustainable environment. Okay, now this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 3, environment, as well as GS paper number 2, basically GS paper number 2, rising number of road accidents. We'll see this particular article. Now, what the article is talking? The article is saying that actually the environment, safe roads and environment are intertwined. They are connected together. They are intertwined. Now, let's see that what this particular article is actually talking about. So basically, the article is saying this thing, that when we talk about the road safety is very much important. Why? Because the safe roads ensure easy, comfortable, secure commute. The safer roads make sure that the basically productive human life is not lost. The demographic dividend is not lost. Moreover, the safer roads also creates a positive impact on environment. Now, this is something very different point that has come, interesting point that has come. Now, the article is talking about that. See, when we talk about today modern vehicles, these vehicles, they contain a lot of toxic metals. For example, lead, mercury, cadmium, okay, hexavalent chromium. Okay, then in the battery also there are multiple type of acids that are being used. Now, all these particular elements are detrimental to the environment, and actually when there is an accident that happens, there are a lot of fluids that actually leak at the crash site, and these particular fluids, they percolate the soil, and then they actually increase the toxicity into the soil. They contaminate the groundwater table. Okay, so the ground contamination happens. That is something that is happening. Basically, it has been provided that when we talk about India has 22.5 million vehicles which are reaching the end of the life by 2025. 22.5 millions will reach the end of life. Okay, now these particular vehicles are needed to be disposed in a sustainable manner. Today India has the largest car and light commercial vehicle market, but we are our national automobile scrappage policy, it is launched in 2021 and it is still into the nascent stages. It is not completely implemented. Right now, we don't have the systemic facilities for the proper recycling of the vehicles after the road crashes. Now, many of the vehicles after the crash, they are just lying there around the road, or they end up into the landfills, and either they are staying there around the road where the accident happened, or when they are ending into the landfills, what is happening, they are contaminating the soil, and by that particular thing, at the end of the day, they are impacting the environment. So basically we need to make the safer roads so less number of accidents happen, and so that the less number of contaminants reach the soil. This is something that is to be provided. Okay, so basically the oils, coolants, glass, wool, okay, they are something very problematic. Now here there are certain parameters that should be addressed by the government immediately. Number one, speeding and accidents. Okay, so it has been provided that the speeding is very important factor for the accidents. It has been provided that around 60% of the road crash 60% of the road crash fatalities in India in the last 5 years, it is because of the over speeding. In this particular direction, a simulation exercise has been carried into the Europe, and they have demonstrated that if we cut down the speed of the vehicles even by 10 km per hour onto the roads, it can deliver 12 to 18% fuel savings. It can deliver 12 to 18% fuel savings. Moreover, it will reduce the emissions also, okay, particularly the nitrogen oxides and particulate matter emissions will be reduced, and at the same time it will save a lot many accidents, and a lot many fatalities will also be reduced. Then it has been provided that the vegetation around the roads will play an important role. Now understand this particular thing, guys. Suppose this is a highway, okay, and this is the traffic going, and this is the traffic coming from this particular side. Okay, so there is a power cut. Excellent. Okay, so suppose they now what we can do, if we deploy the trees here, basically it will cut down the lights which is being emitted by the vehicles, and by that particular thing, into the night driving will be easy. Okay, so the vegetation around the road stretches, okay, they are very important, but often those particular things those particular things are not given a lot of attention because of the road widening initiatives that are taken, so whenever there will be the road widening that will be carried, fine, these trees will be just be cut down. Now in this particular direction, guys, basically the road safety initiatives have been taken by the Save Life Foundation, and the Save Life Foundation, okay, Save Life Foundation, what they have done, they are running the foundation's zero fatality corridor program, and under this particular program has been deployed onto the Mumbai Pune, just a minute, it has been deployed onto the Mumbai Pune expressway in 2016, and by that the fatalities have been reduced by 52% by 2020. Now what they have done in this what they have done here into the zero fatality corridor, basically they have deployed the initiatives in which basically they are guarding the hard structures, fine, basically they are deploying the trees, okay, so all such kind of things are being done. Retro reflective signages are being used onto the trees to make them more visible, okay, the trees are just being guarded so that direct collisions doesn't leads to any kind of fatalities. Now the government of India is also building the green corridors, okay, but we need to scale them in order to make sure that a profound impact is created. Now there is one more element of the signages that have been mentioned. Now guys, see this particular thing. Over the roads you might have seen certain signs which are sometimes indicating you about the maximum speed that should be there, sometimes indicating you that what is the condition of road. Now many a number of times we find that there are the missing or inadequate signages, and they also lead to the road crashes. For example, let's say there is a highway, but the highway, let's say, will become narrow after some 200-300 meters. So there needs to be a signage, just a minute. So there needs to be a signage which will notify that steep road, okay, narrow road, or a curve that is coming. By that also the accidents can be reduced, but there are not proper signages that are there. Now guys, it has been provided that whenever the signages are being deployed, these signages are made by the asbestos. Now the asbestos are used to create these signages, but the asbestos is an element which have a very negative impact onto the environment. In this particular direction, the aluminum composite panels can be employed for the signages. Though they are expensive, but they are free of any toxic gas, toxic liquid during the production process. Moreover, the aluminium, it can be dismantled, it can be recycled after the end of the life. They can be recycled separately as an aluminium and the plastic. They have a lot more, basically without much value or quality loss. Fine, value loss will not be there. So this is something that can be done. So basically, we need to make the roads safer, and by the roads we will be able to make environment safer. And to make the road safer, we need to focus on these things. Number one, speeding is to be focused, vegetations are to be deployed, and then we have seen this particular thing, signages are to be deployed. So these are the some innovative solutions that have been given, signages. So this is all guys about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. Now, how do personality rights protect the celebrities? Okay, so this particular article we'll see with respect to the GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, right to privacy. GS paper number 2, right to privacy, article 21. Right to privacy, article 21, fundamental rights. Article 21, fundamental rights. Okay, now let's take this particular article. So basically guys, recently what has happened, the Delhi High Court has passed an interim order to prevent the unlawful use of the famous Bollywood stars' names, their image, their voice, their personality. Now understand this particular thing guys. See, many number of times you might have seen this particular thing, that many of the brands, many of the businesses, they are using the images of the Bollywood celebrities. Brands, businesses, they are using the photographs of celebrities. For example, what I can do, tomorrow I will make a poster, and in that poster I will show that the Amitabh Bachchan was watching our Thinking Palette newspaper analysis video, and I say that Amitabh Bachchan learns all the current affairs from Thinking Palette. You should also subscribe to the channel. So what I have done, I have used the brand value of that celebrity. Okay, fine, I have used that particular celebrity's image to endorse my own brand, to endorse my own, let's say if I'm running a business, though it is not a business, because business always entails a commercial element. Okay, but here we don't have a commercial element, so it is not a business, but some business might use that particular thing. Or some people, what they are doing, they are impersonating many number of times certain celebrities. They are impersonating their voice, they are impersonating their personality. Okay, you might be knowing that there are certain people who play the duplicates of the Bollywood personalities. Now, it has been provided that basically when you are doing this thing, you are using a celebrity's photograph, you are impersonating the voice of a celebrity, you are impersonating the personality of a celebrity, you are acting as a duplicate of a celebrity. By that particular thing, you are infringing onto the personality right of that particular actor. Now, what are the personality rights? Personality rights are the rights of a person that give him the power that they can protect their own personality, and the personality rights are the part of the right to privacy under the right to life, article number 21. So it has been provided that the celebrities, fine, they have basically the celebrities, their names, their photographs, their voices can be misused for the advertisement, okay, to boost the sales, but the celebrities can use this particular right and might not allow the usage of their photographs, their pictures, their voices, etc. Now it has been provided that personality rights contains actually two types of rights within it. Number one, the right to publicity, or the right to keep one's image from being commercially exploited. For example, if I'm using the Amitabh Bachchan's photo, Amitabh Bachchan can ask some money from me that you have commercially used my photograph without the permission. Either you give me the money or I will just lodge a case on you. Second is that the right to privacy, right to not to have one's personality represented without the permission. Okay, right to not to represent. Okay, they will say that okay, you cannot even use. Okay, so one is that they can ask some compensation. Number two, they can completely deny that usage. Okay, so this is something. Now when we talk about the personality rights in India, the personality rights in India, they are protected under the Trademarks Act 1999, Copyrights Act 1957. Is it clear or not? So this is something that has happened. Now when we talk about the celebrities are protected from this commercial misuse of their name, etc. Now what has happened? The Ministry of Consumer Affairs had passed a notification in 2022, and it has been provided that there needs to be a tab. there actively, it needs to be kept in mind that misleading advertisements are not there which are using the names of these celebrities. Endorsements should not be there. Is it clear? So this is something that has happened, and Delhi High Court has passed an interim order to prevent the unlawful use of the celebrities' personality. So therefore, the personality rights have come into the okay. That is all, guys, about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Now, the article, now use your face as boarding pass at Delhi, Varanasi, Bangalore airports. Okay, so we'll see this particular article with respect to the prelims, examination, government schemes and government initiative, Okay, now what is this particular article all about? First of all, guys, you don't need to go too much in detail. You don't need to go too much into the detail. Okay, the article just need to see with respect to the peripheral issues that are there. So basically, what has happened? The government has come out with the Digi Yatra scheme or Digi Yatra process. Now, what is this Digi Yatra process? In this Digi Yatra process, you don't need to actually scan your boarding pass. You don't need to show your boarding pass. Rather, the boarding can be done by using your face. Okay, so your face will become your boarding pass. Now, here, what will be done? So, government had now launched the Digi Yatra process. Here, the Digi Yatra app can be installed on a person's mobile phone, and they need to register in this particular app by using the OTP that will be received on the Aadhaar linked mobile number. Then they need to upload their Aadhaar details. They need to upload their photo. Okay, and before starting the journey, they need to upload the boarding pass for the upcoming travel. So they need to upload the boarding pass before the upcoming travel. Is it clear or not? Now, when you do the web check-in, before you actually go to the airport, you can avail the boarding pass, and that has to be uploaded. Now, after that particular thing, what you need to do when you enter the airport building, you just need to scan the QR code onto the digital boarding pass, and after that you can enter by using your facial scan. Is it clear or not? Fine. The passenger can gain access to the security area too with just a face scan. You don't need to present that particular boarding pass by the face. Basically, the scan will be done. Now, this particular facility is available at Delhi, Varanasi and Bangalore. Then it will be expanded to Hyderabad, Kolkata, Pune, Vijayawada, and then to all the countries of the country. Is it clear? So just what happened, now you can use your face as a boarding pass. Okay, so this is something, guys, that has happened. So I hope that you have understood this particular article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. How will global layoffs impact India? Okay, now, guys, see this thing. One thing I'm telling you beforehand, that this particular heading is a kind of a much misnomer. Fine, the article is talking about other things much. This what the heading reads, how the global layoffs will impact India, that substance is actually not there in the article. So as on YouTube you find the clickbait videos, fine, where the title will be something, within that you'll get something else. Here, in the same way, now the newspapers are also using the clickbait titles. Okay, so this particular article just contain very less of the important substance. Before going in the article, I will tell you little bit about the detailed background of this article. So right now we find this particular thing that the hiring winter is coming into the technology companies. What is the meaning of hiring winters? Number one, the hirings are on the freeze, and number two, even the people who are working, they are being laid off. For example, you might be knowing that many of the edtech companies, they have laid off a large number of staffs. Is it clear or not? For example, that edtech company Byju's, edtech company Unacademy, recently they had laid off a lot of staff. Is it clear or not? And the same thing is happening into the other countries also. If we take the data, first of all, into the past 2 months, the USA multinational companies such as the Amazon, Meta, Intel, Twitter, Citi, Morgan Stanley, they have carried a lot of layoffs. 60,000 people have been fired from their job in the September and October. And when we talk about India, the edtech, educational technology startups, they are also laying off a large number of people. That is something that is happening. Now, first of all, why in India these layoffs are happening? These layoffs are happening in India because of the share of internet users visiting the educational websites, they are going down after the pandemic. So in the pandemic, the craze for the online education increased and only the online education was possible. But now people are again returning back to the offline education, and as they are preferring the offline education, the online education space is becoming less and less attractive. Moreover, at the same time, we find this particular thing that there is also the global recession that is going on right now. The global recession is there. Earlier also the global recession was there. So whenever the global recession comes, these these layoffs are done. Moreover, if I give you one additional points, when we talk about the Indian edtech startups, they are facing the phase of funding winter. New funding is not coming now. These basically edtech companies, they are not actually profitable. They are still having a large burn rate. Burn rate means that they are earning less but they are spending more. Okay, so their burn rate is very much high, and to sustain you need more and more funding. So as the funding is not coming, the layoffs are being done as a measure of the cost cutting, that is happening. Is it clear or not? So this is something that is happening. Moreover, around the world, there is a global slowdown that is coming, and because of that particular thing, these layoffs are being carried. Now, when we talk about the earlier global recessions, the companies seldom publicly announce the layoffs. They did not publicly announce that particular layoff. They will be removing the staff onto the basis of the performance ladder. For example, the people who are not performing good, they will be just be removed. Now, when we talk about right now, there is a inflation that has become very much high, and because of the inflation, the growth is struck. Now see this particular thing around the world. What is happening? The central banks, they are coming out with the tight monetary policy, and by the tight monetary policy, they are sucking out the liquidity from the system. By that, inflation is being controlled, but if the money will not be there into the system, what will happen? The growth will also be curbed. That is something that is happening. Moreover, if we see according to the IMF, the global GDP estimates for 2023 as very poor because of still continuing pandemic, Russia-Ukraine war, inflation that is going on. So because of that particular thing, the layoffs are happening. Is it clear? Now, how these layoffs will be impacting the India? Now, the article doesn't talk much, but we can make our own points. Number one, how these layoffs will impact India. Number one, guys, as we talk about the layoffs that are happening in USA, they will be impacting the H1B visa holders. H1B visa holders. So H1B is a visa that is given to the high skilled technological professionals who go from India to the USA. And today when we talk about the technocrats the software engineers into the USA, many of them have originated from India. And as these layoffs will happen, these H1B visas will be curbed, and these people had to come back to the India. And when they'll come back to the India, already in India the employability is very much poor. As per the periodic labor force survey, we find this particular thing that the unemployment rate is above 4%, fine, which is very much high unemployment. Thirdly, even in India, when we talk about that, even in India, the edtech startups, tech companies, they are already doing the layoffs. So basically the economic crisis will be exacerbated. Okay, so that is all guys about this particular article. And now we'll move to the next article. Should there be a panel to appoint the election commissioners? Now there is an article, should there be a panel to appoint the election commissioners? Now guys, this particular article, basically, first of all, what is this entire issue all about? I'll tell you. So basically right now within the Supreme Court, there is a petition that has been filed about the functional independence of the Election Commission of India. It is being said that number one, the election commissioner and the chief election commissioners, and chief election commissioners are being appointed directly by the government through the president. So they might not be independent, they might not be autonomous at certain times. Moreover, the election commissioner is not given the security of tenure, because election commissioner can just be removed by the recommendation of CEC. So there are the issues onto the functional autonomy of the functional independence of the election commissioners. So it has been suggested that rather than president appointing the election commissioner and the chief election commissioner, there should be a body, there should be a collegium who should appoint that. So this article is talking about that. But guys, this particular article doesn't contain much of a substance. Rather yesterday, that is on the 1st of December, we have taken a very beautiful editorial, And in this particular editorial, there is the entire issue of the Election Commission of India that has been given along with the multiple committees. For example, Dinesh Goswami committee has been mentioned, M.N. Venkatachalia commission has been mentioned, 255th report of the Law Commission has been mentioned. Then there is a Session case that has been mentioned, which is talking about the ECI. So rather than reading this particular article, I will suggest you to read this yesterday's article that I have discussed in our newspaper analysis. You will get this article into the yesterday's video. Timestamp has been given. If you have read it, no need to go again. If you have not done that, please watch this video at least. Very good and very important video. Okay, now moving to the next article. India set to offer incentives to boost the shipbuilding industry. Now this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 3, infrastructure, but right now don't make the notes of this particular article. Why? I have one reason for that. So basically guys, now the budget will be announced. Okay, so as the budget will be presented for 2023-2024 on the February 1, the finance minister might give the incentive to boost the shipbuilding industry in India. So right now some of the government some of the people from the government had given this information that we might boost the shipbuilding industry. If that thing will come, anyhow we will cover in budget. You will get that what has happened, the scheme or the reforms. But if it doesn't happen, fine, then it is entirely a different story. So right now no need to make the notes. So basically what this article is talking about, so basically guys, see this thing, when we talk about the shipbuilding happens to be a very big industry. Now when we talk about the shipbuilding, okay, in India we don't have much good ecosystem for the shipbuilding. Is it clear or not? So basically now government is trying to bring the reforms where we will offer the cash subsidies, will reduce the taxes, and we will give other incentives to enhance the shipbuilding industry in India. Now guys, India is planning to give subsidies to so that at least 50 new vessels can be built in India. Fine, we are also going to give the shipbuilding industry the infrastructure status so that the banks can also give them the money. It has been provided that basically because in India there are the high local taxes, it deters the investment into the shipbuilding industry. Fine, there are the low taxes in the countries such as the Singapore, Malta, Cyprus, Panama, and because of that the global carriers are registered there. Is it clear? Shipbuilding is also happening. Actually the cost of ship making is low in India because of many of the cheap labor that is there, but still the shipbuilding is not coming to India. Okay, so compared to Philippines, okay, Indonesia, the cost might be less, but the high taxes and lack of subsidies are deterring that. So now India will give certain incentives to the shipbuilding industry. Fine, if we do that, India can save at least $25 billion in a year in foreign exchange. Yeah, moreover, it will be giving the boost to our domestic industry also. It will help in the Make in India. So within the budget, this particular reform will come. So as when it will come, we'll see that. Till then, just keep it in mind. No need to make the notes out of that. That is all. And now we came to the mains practice question for today. So the mains practice question reads, India's vehicle scrappage policy envisages the creation of scrapping infrastructure throughout the country. A push towards introducing circularity practices in the automobile industries. Discuss. Okay, so guys, this will be a 10 marker question for GS paper number 3. So that is all about it. And guys, with this we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. So guys, today you are seeing this video in recorded format that because I'm traveling. Fine, internet connectivity is not here, but guys, we are putting all of our efforts to make sure that you are getting the videos every day. It takes a lot of hard work, it takes a lot of effort. So if you have genuinely liked the video, please guys do hit the like button, please to subscribe to the channel, and please do leave your lovely comments. That is all. Now we'll meet tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.